Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to have a chat about Crown Zenith. We need to have a chat about the most expensive cards from Crown Zenith, because ladies and gentlemen, it's a good set with some very cool cards. And I've already told you right now is the worst time to buy singles. I would not recommend it right now. However, there are still going to be a bunch of you that want to buy particular singles, want to know which ones you pulled and what they're worth and all of that good stuff. So I thought it might be fun to have a little bit of a chat about which ones are the most expensive. Good. So we got a nice clear top 9. And then when it comes to number 10, there's 3 cards that are all around $30-ish. So I thought we might pop them all in at number 10. We've got the special art rare of Hisuian Zoroark. Now, this is a playable card, and I've seen a lot of people predicting. Now, how true this ends up being, we'll have to wait and see. But I've seen a lot of people predicting that post-rotation, when we lose a bunch of cards, this is going to become a much better deck. Whether it does or not, I have absolutely no idea. We'll have to wait and see. But it's absolutely stunning artwork for a popular Pokemon. And it could be a good card in the future. That's a good candidate for going up in price. Now, Elisa Sparkle is coming in at about $30 as well. And what we've got here is a supporter card of a very popular female character, which we all know at this stage is a good way to increase the value. And we've got a very playable card. For a long time, Mew decks went away from playing your Fusion Strike Energy, and they were really just going to a full Mew build. Now we're starting to see a little bit of a rollback of that. We're starting to see some of these Mew builds bring in your single prize attackers again, using cards like Elisa Sparkle. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? In that kind of world, people are going to need Elisa Sparkle. So this is another one that I could see being quite popular for a while to come, I think is fair to say. And then you got the full art of Irida. Now, once again, Irida, popular character, people like Irida, but also very much worth bearing in mind. This is still a playable card in water decks, gets your water Pokemon and an item card. And it's also got all the other Pearl Clan people rocking up there as well. It is another very cool card. All of these I would have expected to be on this list. So, where do we see outside of that then? Well, in at number 9, we've got the special art rare of Glaceon. And you'll know from when I've done lists like this in the past, evolutions are good. When I do my list of most valuable full arts, evolutions. Most popular or most expensive special arts, evolutions. They dominate all of these lists. Well, there's only 2 in this set. They're both on this list. This comes in at number 9 at about $35. And we all know at this stage Glaceon V-Star's not that good a card. Because if it was that good a card, it'd be seeing a bunch more play, but it's not, so it's probably not that good a card. What it is an evolution, ergo, on the list. In at number 8 at about $40, we've got the special arts rare of Suicune. Now, here's the thing, right? Suicune is a more playable card. The ability letting you draw a card in the active is good. The attack doing 20 plus 20 more for each of your bench Pokemon and your opponents is good. And let's not forget there was a time, around about, pretty shortly after the release of Evolving Skies, where this paired with Lucario to make, Ludicolo, they're pretty similar, to make a pretty gosh darned good deck, saw a bunch of play. Those days are gone. This isn't a good deck anymore. But you know what? Suicune is still a fantastically popular Pokemon, so it comes in at number 8. In at number 7, we've got Leafeon, and basically everything I just said about Glaceon applies to Leafeon. It's $5 more, maybe it's the artwork, maybe people like Leafeon a bit more than Glaceon. I really like the V-Star power of Leafeon. It's just gusting, and I love it. And I love that you can just leave it sitting on the bench and then gust whenever you're ready. I think Leafeon V-Star is a cool card that I've always wanted to see teched into more decks, but it's not teched into a bunch of decks. And basically what we got with Leafeon at the moment is it's an evolution. There we go. There's 2 evolutions, they're both on the list. Now, in at number 6, we've got Pikachu, and my advice to you, ladies and gentlemen, very clearly is, if you have this card, and you wish to sell this card, sell it last week. If you can't sell it last week, and unless your knowledge of time travel is better than mine, you're probably not selling it last week, then what you really need to do is sell it as fast as humanly possible. Because the thing is, this is, this is going to drop dramatically in price. Like right now over on TCG Player, as I record this is rocking about a $45 card. It's about right. Yeah, I showed you the other day, people were spending a lot more than $45 on this card. And I told you not to, ladies and gentlemen. I told you to stop. I told you spending $45 on this card was ridiculous. I showed you someone who spent $120 on it. Little bit silly. I showed you that there were listings for $200. Little bit silly. And look, the Japanese version is a very expensive card. The Japanese version is a $400 card. The English version is worth 10% of that. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's worth 10% of that now. Don't expect this to last. This is going to be on a very sharp downwards trajectory. I mean, it's already on a very sharp downwards trajectory. I would be pretty surprised if this settled at a $40 card. Regardless, yeah. You needed to sell this one a couple of weeks ago to really get your value. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this was inevitable. It's Pikachu. It's the only actual designated secret rare in the main Crown Zenith set, which is kind of interesting, I suppose. Yeah. For that, what it's worth. But yeah, this is not going to hold a huge amount of value. You want the Japanese version is what I'm saying. In at number 5, and you're going to start seeing a lot of gold coming in now, we've got the gold Palkia at $65. Now, these are the wonderful Akira Igawa artwork cards. I'm hoping they all drop a bit more, because I am starting to get a real affinity for the artwork of Mr. Akira Igawa, both in this game and in One Piece. The problem is, it's really hard to build an Igawa collection at the moment, because one of his One Piece cards is going nuts, and these gold cards are going nuts. And the Japanese versions are not going to drop much more, unfortunately. And that's why these end up being ridiculously expensive. Now, Palkia is the cheapest of them at about $65, which is a bit weird to me, because Palkia is way more playable than Dialga. But, you know, that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we are. It's $65, and it's gold Palkia. And Palkia is still a really good deck. So maybe bear that in mind. Now, in at number 4, we've got Dialga, and like I just said, this is less playable than Palkia. So I'm not entirely sure why this ends up a little bit higher, except for Dialga's more popular. Like, Dialga is a more popular Pokemon than Palkia. And the fact of the matter is that when you get up to these really high-end cards, a lot of the time people are less worried about playability, because there are cheaper versions if you want to play, and people are more worried about which Pokemon are cool and which cards look the best, and that's why Dialga ends up higher. Now, in at number 2, we got the Special Art Mewtwo, which is breaking up the gold card block. It's coming in at about $85. And look, we've had this Mewtwo since Pokemon Go, and no one's playing it. I thought it was going to be a way better card than it has actually ended up being. I thought it had a decent attack that did a huge amount of damage, and a V-Star power that does 120 to each your opponent's Pokemon V. I thought this was going to end up being a cool card, playability-wise, and it's not. It's just not. But it is a cool card artwork-wise, and of course, as we already know, this is very much just the other side of the Charizard Special Art Rare, which was in V-Star Universe in Japan, but is in, well, it was just in our Charizard Ultra Premium collection over here, so we got that in a different place to Japan. But regardless, worth pointing out that, yeah, people love this card. The artwork on this card is absolutely full-on stunning, and that's why it ends up at number 3 on the list. Which means we can finish off with the other 2 gold cards. In at number 2, we got Arceus at about $105 card. This is the most playable of them. And Arceus is actually, we saw in places like Liverpool, Arceus has seen a little bit of a resurgence playability-wise. And Arceus, for as long as Pokemon V's are here and good, Arceus is always either going to be being played or on the verge of being played. Because it's got Starbirth that searches for any 2 cards, and it's got Trinity Nova that does 200 damage and attaches 3 basic energy from your deck to your Pokemon V in any way you like. And sure, with the advent of Pokemon EXs, which is going to be coming with Scarlet and Violet, which are going to be coming with Scarlet and Violet, sure, it's a pain, I grant you. V's are going to be less good, Arceus is going to be less good, but we ain't there yet, ladies and gentlemen, so this is a $105 card. But in at number 1, it's Giratina. And it's not even close. It's like $165. This is not even close. And this must be an artwork thing. And it must be a popular Pokemon thing. Because I'm not saying Giratina V-Star is a bad card. It's not. Giratina V-Star has seen a whole bunch of play. And it's seen a bit of success since it came around in Lost Origin or Lost Abyss in Japan. I'm not saying Giratina's bad. I am, however, saying that Arceus and Palkia, from what I could see at least, seemed to have better showings over in, for instance, the Liverpool Regional Championships than Giratina did. So you know what? Yeah. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. And the thing is, right, Lost Zone decks did actually do well, but it was a Hisui and Goodra V-Star with the whole Lost Zone engine, and they didn't even tech in any Giratina, because you generally don't in that deck. So even though the Lost Zone is seeing play and success, it's with Goodra, it's not with Giratina. This is just a popular Pokemon, and it's like that, and that's the way it is. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know which cards in Crown Zenith you like the most. I want to know which ones you've picked up. I want to know which ones you're going to pick up in the future. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord and chat with us, all kinds of fun things. Oh, and you can get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Wafflos, who's one of our newer patrons and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and for being a pretty nice person. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.